the request. I don't know if you.
Okay. I did get the request and I accepted it. We should be live in the group right now. Let me see.
It might ask if you the pin, the code or something, right?
No, it shouldn't change.
Right. Oh,
It,
I see. Yep. I'm gonna pin your thing up now.
is it in the group? You can see it? Okay, cool.
Yep, I see it. I'll
All
pin
right,
it up
cool.
now.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right. Make sure that the privacy for the post is cool. And then I'll go to mine and check that one. This is all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. Is that you? Is that you?
Yeah, typing. Yeah.
All right. Your chat comes up as Facebook user because you got to go to that link to enable it to be able to see both.
Oh no, actually, no. That's not me. That's so I can see it. I can see who's typing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It comes up. It's a
Facebook open.
okay.
So we can keep track too.
All right, cool. Yeah, for anybody else that wants to actually have their name show up on the chat so we know who you are and everyone else knows who you are, all you need to do is go to like restream.com/Facebook or /FB. There's an automatic Donovan Davis. Sweet. Welcome. All right, let's see here. I just need to make sure that what I'm doing over here is public so that mine show up as well. Edit privacy. This should always be public. My account is a pro account, so it should be always public. All right, cool. We're in. Sweet. All right, let me bring you in, bro. Cool. All right, let's lower the chat a little bit. It's like right in your face. The chat is right in your face. Let's see. We can.
There we go.
This. There we go. All right, that should be fine. All right, cool, man. So, welcome. This is the first non-episode of a non-podcast. This is Revenge of the Nerd Live. We're looking at doing something regularly for the group and for the channel and everything. So everyone who's been to the channel, everyone that's subscribed to the YouTube and liked and shared on Facebook, thank you. Much appreciated. Today we got my man Robert Olive on. You know what I mean?
Good,
owner of Comic Book Buy Sell Trade, the Facebook group. If you're not in that group, you should definitely be in that group, especially if you're a seller, if you're a collector, a reseller, if you like trading. Right now, it seems like it's probably the safest group on Facebook for doing anything comic book related. Robert, what's up? Welcome to the stream.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, bro.
For sure,
Yeah,
for
dude.
sure.
A lot of craziness going on in Facebook, Instagram, CGC. A lot of scammers lately, like insane, dude.
Yeah, it's been a crazy holiday season, man.
Yeah, and it's like the perfect time for scammers to strike. It's always in the holiday season, Which is insane.
Nick Rosario, Nick D. Rosario says, why is it not a podcast? It's not a podcast because we're not a serialized show that's available for podcasts to see. That's really what it boils down to.
Live conversation.
Right, man. If we were on like Stitcher or something like that, that's what we'd be doing, right?
Exactly.
So this is just a regular live stream. We're just gonna have a conversation, speaking about what's been kind of plaguing us in the comic book community, specifically on social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram. What have you been seeing out there, Robert?
So for Instagram, it's been going crazy. So this whole CGC scandal kind of blew everything up, and now like multiple parties on Instagram are like kind of like giving it light to the situation, to the point where like CGC released a statement like a couple of days ago.
Right, and we're not necessarily just talking about the CGC reholder scandal, correct?
Yeah, it's just everywhere.
At this point, it's just scams in general. At this point,
like last week, someone used one of my pictures from like a post from like 6 months ago for my X-Men #1 to try to recoin it and sell it.
They tried recoining it.
Yeah. They use Photoshop. So if you have a coined image, let's say you write like your name on a note card or something, they'll grab Photoshop or use Photoshop or any other program to like remove the person's name and write their like the different account's name on it and try to sell it as their own book.
That's wild. Okay, so a similar thing happened to me last week. a sale that I had posted. Well, I had a lot of activity last week. It was ridiculous. But last weekend specifically, the same thing happened to me. Someone took a post of mine that I had posted a couple days prior, and it was they reposted all of the books. Now, I didn't coin those books, but they used the picture of the guy. I don't know his name. The guy that is the actor from what is it?
The Arrow.
The Arrow. Yeah. And I didn't know. I just thought it was some random guy, right? But yeah, it was crazy. I want She-Hulk season 2. Did you guys like season 1? No trolling. I absolutely love She-Hulk. There was things that I didn't like about it. Areas where it could have been improved, but it's kind of a sore spot for me because that's why I woke up grumpy. I woke up grumpy because of She-Hulk.
They're making a season 2?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you said they're making a season 2.
So Tatiana Maslany was on some talk show, or she was actually in some these comments. She was in some article where she was speaking to the frustration she had over being fired and there being no season 2, according to Kevin Feige. Now, this isn't verified. I haven't heard it from Kevin Feige specifically, but it's really a bummer, right? It's a super bummer. Hold on right quick. All right,
cool.
You're good, bro. Yeah, so let me just do this real quick. There's a thing on here because we took so long to get on here. My battery's dying, so I need to go get another one now.
No rush, bro.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that one's fine. Anyway, let's just go until it dies. But yeah, so She-Hulk aside, all of these thank goodness She-Hulk was no bueno. Everyone has their opinions, I enjoyed it. It had a very strong tinge of wokeness, but what doesn't these days, Yeah. Even In-Game had a little bit of wokeness in there. So kind of can't get away from it. It's kind of the direction that society's going in. But regardless, these scammers though, right? Facebook groups there are tons of Facebook groups that are being found to not be adequately moderated based on their use. You know what I'm saying?
And it's bigger groups. It's not just like smaller groups with like 100 members or so. It's like groups with like 30, 40,000 members. And like at that point, you're like trying to maintain a reputation for your group, but you can't do so if you're not being active as a moderator or admin. You're just letting these alt accounts and, scammers roam free.
Now our group specifically doesn't have that same problem. And why is that?
Well, I think we have up to 12 moderators in the group. And the great thing about it is that each one of us has different schedules in our lives and stuff like that. So let's say someone is free from so-and-so time. They'll take care of the post and all the member requests and so forth. And then when they go to sleep, some other member who's awake in a different time zone will take care of the other post. So we're like on 24/7 maintaining the group, keeping track of all these scammers and so forth, or all accounts that are trying to join.
And I think in comparison to other groups, it's been shown to be pretty effective, right? A lot of these other groups are plagued with troll posts or, copy posts from accounts that aren't real, right? I have a personal bias against using 2 first names specifically. So, not everybody with 2 first names is a scammer, but I can understand why someone would think that there are things that you can look out for to help mitigate those things. What are some of those things, Robert?
So, for example, on the groups you join, because there's countless of Facebook groups, you got to make sure the group is private. That way, it's not public. Because if it's public, it's just going to be a free-for-all for all scammers to join. Make sure the group has member requests. So before anyone joins the group, the admins or moderators will take a look at the member requests and see what questions, like they answer the questions and so forth. For example, when an alt account or like a different account from a scammer or so forth, they'll answer member requests with okay admin, yes admin, very generic responses. So you got to try to have these questions on the member requests that are like kind of interactive with the user. That way you can differentiate between a real person and a fake account. Another thing is too that you need to have post approvals, and that's like important. That's crucial because like what happened to you, Matt. Someone stole your posts from the same group and reposted the same books under a different name as Oliver Queen.
And it's you use Facebook Marketplace for your sales posts, right? And then you spam it into every group that you can so everyone sees it as much as possible, right? And when it gets into those groups that are not moderated appropriately, they don't have post approvals. That's exactly what happens, and exactly what happened to me. I look frozen. Why am I frozen?
Yeah, it looked frozen for a second on my end too. Yeah, you're frozen.
I don't know why I'm frozen. That's really weird. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix why we're frozen.
Dude's always frozen, Caesars.
Bruh. Dude's always frozen. Am I always frozen?
No, you weren't frozen. I have the Facebook on the other side. What's good, Timothy? How's it going, bro?
Let's see. All right, that should work for now. All right, cool. No worries about batteries for the time being. But yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Obviously, when you see things like that, the prudent thing is to, one, reach out to an admin if the group has any admin or moderators, and obviously report the post. There's things that, so listen, I had a project that I was working on for my YouTube channel, and this is the first instance of Facebook scamming that I've had in a very, 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 very long time. I made a general post and I was looking for 2D animators. And specifically, I was looking for a 2D animator to animate the intro to the new YouTube show, right? The new YouTube channel. And I got 1 million responses to this post. And what I would do is, if the account looked sketch, if it was like this weird company that didn't have a lot of feedback or reviews beyond that, right? Let's say it looked marginally good. What I would do at that point is I would ask to have a face-to-face conversation, right? I would say, hey, can you FaceTime me right quick? Can we hop on a video chat so that, one, I can verify that the person that's on the other end of the chat is who they say they are, and two, that, it's not a troll account. There's a way for us to connect from, in real life, so to speak, virtually. And I would say that if you ever have any questions about an account, that is a tried and true way to figure out what's going on. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, exactly. When I have people message me about trying to do a trade or buy a book, and it's like a pricier book or even a smaller book, and it's like a new seller, they never heard of the name before, that's one of the things I tell the buyer or trader to do, is always ask for videos of the book and to video chat the owner of the book to make sure they actually have it in person. 9 out of 10 times they'll block you. They won't call you. So it's like you'll know right away.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how the links that they go to for these things too. Like one of the most effective ways that I used to, when I traded into my X-Men 1, 2 years ago or so, there was an issue where, I didn't know this guy at all. And he actually genuinely ended up being a genuine trader that was like, had more than one X-Men 1 and was open to bless some knucklehead kid into getting his. But we did a reference post, and reference posts are godlike, right? I've done reference posts with people who've only had like 1 or 2 people respond to their reference posts. Those give me the kind of heebie-jeebies, right? I don't have the warm fuzzy going forward with those. But as far as like, when you get overwhelming responses from people that kind of co-sign from accounts that can be verified, right? Because you can do that too. You can have accounts that are saying, yeah, I've done trades with this guy. And like someone said in the chat, it's only 3 days old, right? Or it's a BS account and you can see right through it. Yep. So that's another way, the reference checks. But yeah, it's crazy out here. So, I mean, like CGC, obviously, people are talking about it to their face, and I can't not say this, right? But I'm specifically very, very cautious of falling into the same tropes and rut that a lot of our mainstream media does, and that's selling hype and sensationalism and over dramatizing situations, right? The issue that's going on with CGC is an issue, but it's not a far-reaching issue. We're talking about maybe a couple hundred books out of CGC pushing thousands of books a day, right? That's a fraction, like a minute fraction of the inventory that's out there that are CGC books. So for, most normies of us out there, if you're not dealing in high-end books, right, you're probably not somebody that has to worry about that. Like, no one's gonna like question you for your 9.6 Ultimate Fallout 4, right? But those bigger price books that are in the $3,000 and $4,000, those are where the questions come in. One Facebook user says, reference post or vouch post is the way to go. I have had people be good if they get a thumbs up from me. It works. Another Facebook user says, meh, I'm not worried about my 3.0 Fantastic 448 being messed with. Yeah, exactly, right? I think most of us aren't. But let me tell you, every YouTube influencer or YouTube channel out there that has anything to do has jumped on this and has sensationalized it. And it's kind of sad. It's sad the people that are, chasing their payday because this is the trending topic to discuss, right? Like, shout out to Immaculate Comics. They actually reverse engineered what was happening, right? He actually
I reposted that video.
Yeah,
too.
that's that's great content, right? But outside of that, Facebook user. Oh, what's up, Caesar? Yeah, we can't see the names on here. It comes up as a Facebook user. There's a way that you can go in and actually, like, if you see it, it's like chat.restream.io/Facebook. I'll copy and paste it and put it in the chat so you guys can see it. But if you go there, then you can see your name. Let's see. But yeah.
Yep. Just craziness. Going back to the Caesar's point about the vouching post. Yeah, that's a great way. And especially if you're trying to do a trade with like a person that hasn't done a trade before and so forth, it's always good to like contact an admin or a mod to act like a middleman for a trade.
You know what? I've never even thought about having a middleman. That actually makes a lot of sense. I think that, people in specific groups that are heavily moderated should not be afraid of, having activities, doing any activities within the group. Feel secure in that. You have an admin team that's, aggressively seeking out and banning accounts that are even fishy, right? We probably are the most aggressive in moderating content and users. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We have 2 security guys who that's all they do. They just keep track of scammers and alt accounts.
Is that Caesar?
Yeah.
Chat. Okay. Middleman is a safe way to trade or buy if you ever have a doubt. That is a great way to do it. I think I've had great success with reference posts. I don't think that I would be comfortable just doing a trade with someone off of a video chat. A video chat is really just to verify that someone is who they say they are and that the account is verifiable. But when you're doing trades and stuff like that, I think trade posts are, trade posts and reference posts are the way to go. Now, when I traded into my books, the first couple trades I made, the first trade I made was for Giant Size X-Men and a Hulk 181. And I mean, like, these were big books, big blue chip in my first trade. Now, the person that I traded with, they took a leap of faith with me, right? They took a chance on me. I was new. And I say that to say that if you're new and you haven't traded before, do not be afraid to do so. Okay. There are, these things that we say are in place to be able to, verify those kind of things. But, if you're active, if you're an active seller, if you're an active buyer, those are things that can be put on your reference post. They don't have to necessarily be trades. Yeah. What else you got, Robert?
Even purchases from other, if you're buying from reputable sellers and you're paying on time, no issues, that can be considered a vouch as well. If you're even working for smaller trades, even if you start with smaller trades and work to bigger trades, that always helps. And like I said, like Matt said, The admins and mods in the group are there to help you. We're not here. We're not here telling you, hey, it's my day off. I'm not gonna help you. No. Well, we'll help you. So if you have any questions or any concerns, just make sure to reach out to an admin or a mod. We're here to assist.
And we're always looking for people to add to the team that we feel, have earned a spot to be able to be trustworthy and dependable to get things done, right? Everybody has their role to play on this team, and it's been a great team. And I obviously thank you for having me on board as part of the team.
Of course, bro.
Yeah, it's been awesome. You got some plans in store for the group. Let's talk a little bit about that.
For this year, we're doing the exclusives. The Comic Corner are handling our exclusives for this coming year. So that's gonna be huge. That opens the door for Marvel, DC, and other independent titles for the group. So that's gonna be a huge, huge thing that no other group does. No other group this level has done like their own exclusives for just their Facebook.
And that's a huge thing, right? Obviously, being a member of this group and then it's having its own exclusive, which the cover is outstanding. If you haven't seen it,
that Thundercats is beautiful, bro.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it in person.
If there's a Thundercats book to own outside of a 9/8 number 1, a 9/8 of these is probably one to own as well.
100%.
Who's the artist on it?
Says you really go with your ink. I've been fortunate that people have. Yep, exactly, bro. Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Going with your gut is the way to go. Yeah, if you have that self-awareness and you can tell whether that warm and fuzzy is there or not there, that's a great way to go about it. So what else is in store for the group, Robert?
We're planning on doing conventions. That's on the list. We had planned a ZoomaCon, which is going to be like a virtual convention through like Zoom, but we kind of rushed things on that. So we're going to try to get that rolled out, I think, by this year, if not next year. Have to work out all the defects and so forth and get the marketing team on that rolling. And we're promoting as well. We have an Instagram account dedicated for the group because a lot of people don't realize that Facebook is good for comic books as well. They think it's just for boomers or older people who just don't know how to use Instagram. So we've been really promoting the group on there as well, and a lot of people have actually joined from Instagram over to the Facebook group as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and it should kind of cross over. I've definitely used both platforms. We're actually on my Instagram right now. You do have, like you said, an Instagram you have a TikTok as well, right?
Yeah, we made it, and then what's it called? I think Matt's gonna start posting content on there as well.
Yeah. Listen, going hard for this group is something. That I love. Being a part of this community. For people that don't know, my story is pretty. I think rare, right? I started. Obviously, like most of us, I grew up with comics, but I had long since removed myself from comics. I didn't get back into collecting comics until January of 2020. So like a nice chunk before the pandemic hit and going well into the pandemic is where I've gotten, most of my road behind me as far as a collector, as a buyer, as a trader, as a seller. I used YouTube to kind of bridge the gap on all the things that I didn't know and the things that, I wanted to learn. I followed some specific influencers that were super instrumental and influential to me and actually, motivated me to actually start, creating content and, using all of this video equipment that I have that's not being used anyway. So, but I don't know a lot of people that, don't have really, really good paying jobs that within the first 18 months of, collecting have owned a X-Men 1, right?
Oh no, dude, you're one of the few.
Yeah, gotta be, right? And it's because of this community. It's because of groups like this one that those things have happened to be on. Someone mentioned it in the chat. I'm gonna be a guest on the Comic Menu podcast. I think it's January. I can't remember what date it is. We'll get some flyers out and some posts, some graphics. But my man Caesar invited me on. I'll be sitting talking about my unpopular opinions about the market and the MCU and everything of the sort. So look forward to that. The Comic Menu podcast is doing some great things. Dell and his team, Caesar, I've seen some of their content. Very, very good content. Not something that I want to do as far as a podcast, but I think doing these live streams and just having conversations, definitely something that, there's room for that, right? There's room for that in this group. There's room for that in the community. So
100%. And then Edward says, hello, I'm Malcolm from Singapore. It's Sunday, the 31st of December.
See,
we got people from all over the place in the podcast.
So you said his name is Edward?
Edward Malcolm.
Oh.
But it says, hello, I am Malcolm from Singapore.
And it's Sunday, December 31st.
Yup. What's good, Andreas? How's it going, bro?
What's that 419?
What was that?
You see that chat that said there's a comment that says 419. I'm not sure what that says. Oh, is that January 19th?
I'm not sure, actually.
Maybe is it Caesar that said that?
No, that's Edward.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I have no clue. Right. So
yeah, Caesar and Dell, they're great people, bro. Their podcast is great. I enjoy it.
You know what? Someone said in a comment, it's 4:19 a.m. Okay, I get it. I'm tracking. Nice. Well, happy almost New Year's to you. Right?
And he said, I am new to collecting comics. I just collect covers.
That's actually when I first started, that's what I started. I got like a bunch of hip hop covers and, covers that I grew up with, that I saw in my childhood, like, X-Men 101, X-Men 100. Actually, my first CGC book was an X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. I think it was 141 Days of Future Past. It was a brown label. You remember that one? Yeah, it was like a red label from CGC. But you
got the old school one.
Yeah, it was an oldie, right? I'm pretty sure I got pictures of it on my Instagram somewhere. But I was actually this is the story, right? So I was in First Sergeant Academy in Alabama. Okay. And right down the street from our hotel, you would pass by a comic book shop. And so I'm like, oh man, I remember these back in the day. I'm gonna go check it out. So I go in and I look around. I see some books. I buy a couple here and there, and I didn't think anything of it. And so I got home and I started YouTubing it. And I'm like, what is this thing that I just bought? This
case,
red label plastic case, CGC. What is this, right? And so I look into it. I just know that it's like a preserved copy at this point, right? That's all I know about it. I didn't know anything about a market. I didn't need a resale market. I didn't know anything about values or anything like that. By the end of that month, I had gotten so far beyond just collecting covers and, the things that I liked for whatever reason. The big book that I ended up walking away with was an X-Men 100 in a 9.8. It was a $1,600 book at the time, and it was the most expensive book I had ever bought. And I was really heavy into collecting third-party Masterpiece Transformers at that time, and I had sold a bunch of like very valuable Transformers to be able to do that, to buy into that book, because the hobby should always pay for itself. That's the goal, right?
100%.
Robert, tell me a little bit about how you started into this.
So, long story. All right. So, when I was in middle school in 6th grade, my dad brought back a Avengers 57 because there was a comic book store. I don't really classify it as a comic book store. It was a guy in a storage unit who basically had boxes of books and was just selling it off the storage unit. So, I came home. My dad brought me that, and I read it, and that's when I got hooked. And that was a while back, years ago. So my dad got that book. We would go there every other week. And unfortunately, the guy passed away. So the store ended up closing. And so basically, fast forward to high school, senior year, I go through my closet, find the box of books. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I stopped collecting comic books. It was just because the store wasn't there. So, and that's like, I had a phone back then. I didn't have a phone in 6th grade. So I have the internet, I have a phone, I have the palm of the world in my hand, basically. Again, I have access to what I can find on the internet. And that's like right when I had my graduation party. So I started with a little bit of money from that. I started with $500, started buying some books I wanted. I started flipping books to fund the hobby like that. And then that's when I was selling mostly on Mercari. I wasn't selling on Facebook or Instagram. I didn't have an Instagram account or anything like that. And then fast forward a year and a half to when that started, I decided to download Facebook because a few people that I met on Mercari were like, "Hey, make a Facebook or make an Instagram. Let's connect there," because the chats on Mercari are monitored. You can't communicate properly on a Mercari chat, and that's how it started.
That's crazy. So you started pretty much like flipping right away.
Yeah, it was just selling because I was selling. So I sold some of the books that I had from my childhood. Not the Avengers 57. That was like my first book. I still have that one in one of the boxes here. But the other books I sold to fund other stuff because I was getting help from the people who were on Mercari. They were telling me what to do and so forth. To the point where I just started collecting.
That's awesome. And now you have a massive inventory. You're one of the bigger resellers in Facebook, or on Facebook. Congratulations, man. That's huge.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's been a journey, but with all the people I've met on Facebook and Instagram, it makes it worth it. A lot of cool stories of experiences, people, how they started. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think that, having a platform and a group where we can have when we can have people on to, share their stories, that's all of these things are things that we have opportunities to do. So people should definitely check in, follow for us. This might be something that we could do recurringly, maybe, Saturdays or something, or in conjunction with live sales. But the stories, the endless stories, is what interests me, right? Because obviously comic books are stories, but the stories that surround them outside of the actual stories that are inside the book are the things that I often find the most intriguing, especially speaking to, have you ever spoke to somebody who's, well into their boomer years, right? 60 and plus, 60 and older. And they tell stories about their experiences and how today's market and today's, methods of preservation and grading are, absolutely against what it is they stood for. Have you ever spoken to somebody like that?
Oh yeah, dude. I have a couple friends who are just they're older people, of course, and it's just good to get that experience and like that mindset from how they collected and how it switched around as they progressed with the hobby. But like you said, the stories are just what makes this community the community. Like it's just the amazing stories and examples that they have and how they start collecting what they find. It makes it fun.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I was well into my career in the military. I had no intent on doing anything outside of it, outside of the military. And when I started getting into comics, meeting people like you, Pedro, there's just so many people to name that really welcomed me into this community. And, it was different from other communities that I had been in, right? Because I've collected for a while, right? I've collected Tokusatsu. I collect Transformers Masterpiece. I actually started with collecting Super Sentai and Kamen Rider stuff when I was in Japan. And actually, no, that's a lie. I actually started collecting Power Rangers stuff before I got to Japan, and then I revisited years later and started doing it once I moved to Japan. But a lot of those other communities that I've been in can be pretty toxic, right? They can be very elitist. People can act very isolated. There's cliques and things like that. I don't feel like I have those issues in this community. Like I said, Dell and Caesar invited me onto their podcast, right? And I'm just a guy that has a camera and I like making content for the community. That's it. I don't have, crazy wild stories or anything like that other than, my X-Men 1. And the funny Avengers 1 story, that story.
That's a first, bro. That is a first.
I've never seen anything like it before. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I feel like that's the community at its heart. It's very welcoming. It's very open. It wants people to thrive and succeed, and it does it from a genuine place, right? A lot of the content creators that we have in the space on Instagram and YouTube are doing so, and it's for the benefit of the market. It's for the benefit of the community. So it's very selfless, right? I mean, obviously people are trying to find a way to eat off of it, but very selfless in its own right. But yeah, man, I think that without the community, this wouldn't be such a pleasant place. I probably wouldn't be here, right?
Yeah, like you said, a lot of the other some of the other collectibles and stuff like that, communities they're toxic. I've known countless people who have either collected toys, Funko Pops, and they just transitioned into comic books and sold like a majority of their other collectibles that they've had just to switch to the comic books just because of the community.
Yeah, it's truly like none other, right? I've been in a bunch of them, right? And I didn't completely leave behind other fandoms, but I'm not like actively collecting those things. I still have them in my collection, but I'm not a part of their community. I'm not necessarily going to create content for that community. I'm not going to, do unboxing or reviews or things like that, unless it's something special. Like, if you know me, you know that I just got a new job. So applause to me. And now that I have that new job, one of the first purchases that I'm going to be able to make, and my wife is on here, so I hope she doesn't blow her gasket, but one of the first purchases I'm going to pick up is the Roberson Grimlock. Have you seen that?
I saw it. You made a post about it, I think, on your personal
It's
page.
happening. It's got to happen.
Oh, dude, you have to, bro.
Do
you have the Optimus Prime or no?
I don't have the Optimus Prime, and I didn't want the Optimus Prime. Look at Ari. I didn't want the Optimus Prime because it was just kind of mid to me. I mean, sure, I had, if you've been on Facebook, you've probably seen the Chinese, transforming robot videos. They've been about for a while now. And so for Hasbro to, buy into that technology and then Roberson to stand up, I wasn't very impressed by the Optimus. I'm like, yeah, this is, your first go at it. But man, that Grimlock is something different.
It's sick, bro.
It's absolutely something different.
You gotta do an unboxing video about that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, she says I earned it. She knows how hard I worked. This has been a very, very rough year for me. I'm very happy to say goodbye to 2023. How has your year been business wise?
No complaints, bro. It's probably the best year we've had.
That's awesome. And only up from here, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You know it.
That's what I'm looking forward to, seeing, my content get better, my content creating get a little more smoother, a little more regular, but we'll iron it out. But hopefully, this won't be the last time that we get a chance to hop on and do one of these things. Was there anything else that you wanted to address before we got off, Robert?
No, everything good, bro. I appreciate you guys showing up.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for being a part of our group, right? Because our group is probably one of the better ones out there, right? I don't know anyone that is, more serious about the experience of its members than us, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of Comic Book Buy Sell Trade, right? There's a lot of imitators out there. Those extra words don't mean a lot though, because there's only one of us.
Big facts. Yep.
All right, cool. Well, we can sign off from there. Thanks for hanging out, checking out our chat. Thanks for being active in the chat. And until next time, if we do this again, maybe we'll
100%.
Probably send out an invite or have an event for it in the group, right?
Yep, we can do that. That's going to be great.
Sweet. All right, cool. Well, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for talking. And then to everybody else.